It's the 8 for 52 podcast.
G'day, this is Botters.
G'day, Buschy here.
Buschy, this is episode 32 of the 8 for 52 podcast.
Oh, second ball of the fifth over. I'm liking it.
Yeah, it's a big one in front of us too. And as always, everyone out there, you can DM us on Instagram.
Did anyone DM us this week?
We had a few, actually, Buschy. We had a few. I'm just going to read the most important one, though. It came in from Emily Dickinson, a junior player up at HKCC. And it's an important one, actually, as well, Buschy. She says, "Hi, I'm Emily, a junior cricketer in Hong Kong, playing for many different teams, such as HKCC Women's Premier League, HKCC Willow Wielders, etc. I love listening to your podcast, but I would love to see some more women's cricket on the podcast." That was Emily's feedback, Buschy.
Well, firstly, we've got to have a big shout out to Emily, not only for dropping us a message, which is awesome, but she was also player of the match in the Premier League game the other day on Sunday. 3 for 2, including a double wicket maiden. So there is an up-and-coming star in women's cricket. So thank you for dropping us a message. And Emily, I agree. We are going to work on getting more women's cricket involved. And I've got maybe a big Bushy's rumour mill coming up later in the show, as well as the Premier League final. So we'll be talking all about that.
Yeah, we actually agree with you, Emily. We'd love to do a lot more women's stuff. But I'll just be perfectly honest. Logistically, there's a lot that goes into this podcast. And unfortunately, Buschy and I only have a certain amount of bandwidth. So we do try to cover women's cricket as much as we possibly can, including the Premier League, the internationals as examples. We also had Carrie Chan on. Buschy interviewed her earlier this year. So, yeah, we're conscious of it, and we try to get as much women's in there as we possibly can, Emily. So thank you so much for reaching out to us. All right, all last week's results in outs and ins. Plenty of rain, but there was at least some Saturday cricket played and one women's Premier League game that should have had a bearing on the final.
Yeah, weird one. Hong Kong Cricket Club Premier got themselves a home final over Craigengower, only to be booted to Mission Road due to a garden party up the hill already booked. That makes for the final very interesting, and we'll cover all of that in outs and ins.
Yeah, Buschy, just on that garden party that everyone up at HKCC is looking forward to, when you got that news and shared it with me, I went on the internet to find out a little bit of information about the garden party, and there's a little YouTube clip from it last year. It looks like a fantastic day. 47 Franco VR has put a little 2-minute YouTube clip up on his day at the garden party last year. So it looks like everyone will have a tremendous family day up there, but there'll be no cricket.
No, they should all come down to Mission Road and support the Hong Kong Cricket Club women's Premier team in the grand final. Then they can go to the garden party if they so desire.
Yeah, they've got jumpy castles and obstacles and throw the rugby ball through the hoops and plenty of stuff for their children to do by the look of it, and probably a bit of food and drink for the adults. That's going up there. But as Buschy said, get down and watch some cricket. Ins and outs, men's and women's Premier League, which is what we're talking about here. It's the grand final time. We'll have that covered. Sunday Elite T20 continues. And, of course, we've got the Saturday Cup quarter-finals on as well, which is very, very good. Fingers crossed as far as the weather is concerned. Buschy can give us an update on that. Sky Plaza Road. Buschy, it's a month away from the T20 World Cup.
Oh, don't remind me. We're stuck in Australia for you and Hong Kong for me. I should be in the Bahamas. I should be in Aruba getting ready and doing some prep work for the World Cup coverage. But no, we are going to just have to watch it on the TV.
Yeah, unfortunately, our best laid plans didn't figure out that way. But well, one day it'll happen, Buschy. One day, let's stay confident the boys will get us there one day. You got some whispers coming up in Sky Plaza Road, have you?
Yeah, Bushy's rumour mill returning in Sky Plaza Road. Stick around for that one. I'm not telling you anything now. You have to listen in to SPR later in the show. One last thing, Botters, before we get on with the show. Just want to shout out to our friend of the podcast, Chico Katari, who scored an outrageous 125 off 52 deliveries in Tuesday's Sky Warriors T20 match. He opened with Sonu Simmet, who scored 122 off 52.
Well, he was the first receiver of the 8 for 50 podcast cap that is so sought after around cricket circles in Hong Kong, so he definitely deserves a shout out for that magnificent performance. I did see a little bit on Instagram, actually. I think it was him posting his own performance with your commentary over the top. Looked like a great day. The Sky Warriors having a great fun in their cricket carnival.
Yep, and it's going to continue on Friday this week and Friday next week, and then they've got their big sixes coming up as well. We'll cover that later on, but this is the 8 for 52 podcast.
It is indeed. Let's get on with the show, Buschy.
Giddy up.
It's time for Outs and Ends, a full wrap of senior cricket games in Hong Kong from last weekend. Here's Botters.
All right, outs and ins. Last weekend, men's LSW up against PACC on Sunday. A big win for one of the teams, sees them through to the grand final. We also had KCC versus HKCC down at KCC. Well, mate, unfortunately, rain robbed us of any play at all, which is a tragedy for PACC and LSW as it took away any chance for them for a grand final spot. But a huge congratulations to USRC, who, with 2 wins and 2 losses, go through to the big one this Sunday up against KCC at Kowloon Cricket Club, and we'll have all of that covered in ins and outs. A big one for them, Bushy, and we'll cover it later.
Yeah, a bit of a funny story, actually, from the KCC game, which I was going to cover, but it was called off. And then 10 minutes later, it stopped raining. So HKCC, who needed a massive win to have a chance to win and get into the final, there was a few players not impressed with the fact that immediately after the game was called off, the rain stopped, but then 10 minutes later, the rain started again and didn't stop until Wednesday. So it was a wise decision to call it off in the end.
Well, we can control lots of things, but not the weather, of course. So very, very sad as far as that's concerned. What about on the women's side? LSW up against CCC. That was down for Mission Road at 9:30, and unfortunately no play in this one due to the rain, and that robbed LSW the chance to leapfrog Craig and Gower, and the defending champs. They won't be lining up in the grand final this weekend, Bushy. But KCC and HKCC, there was some cricket.
Yes, there was, and I did pick LSW to go up there, so that was unfortunate for the girls, but they were going to have a rest. CCC get the win by default. The game, we did get a game underway at KCC, and it was versus the HKCC women's. A win for HKCC would have put them on top of the table for their home grand final, which we mentioned isn't happening. I see that you've asked me whether it was rain reduced or KCC short of players. It was both.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, well, you were right. KCC only had 8 players available, studies and the like, so they were short of players by quite a few. And then some devastating bowling from HKCC. Alison Sue opened with a double wicket maiden, and then, as we heard earlier, young Emily Dickinson, 3 for 2 off 10 balls, left KCC all out for 19 after 10.4 overs. Extras top scoring with 10. And then HKCC with Emma Lai, who topped the batting table for the season for the Premier League, went out there and, with help from Georgina Bradley, chased it down in 17 deliveries.
Yeah, absolute flogging. We did tip HKCC in that one. No surprise to see him across the line. What a fantastic performance from Emily Dickinson. 3 for 2 off just 10 balls. That's outrageous. That is fantastic. What a career she's got in front of her. That's awesome. And, of course, she reached out to us, which we read out earlier in the podcast. Sunday Elite T20 Cup. Wanderers versus the Lions. It was washed out, which means both Wanderers games have been washed out, meaning if Sri Lanka and LSW can get on May the 26th, the winner's going to go through to the semis, and the Wanderers will actually be out.
Wow. That's huge.
Another one scheduled for the public holiday on May the 1st. That was USRC Elite versus Pakistan Association at PKVR. They didn't get on either. I'm not sure what that means for Pool 4, to be honest. Saturday Cup. Now, there was some play in Saturday Cup. The wet weather didn't hit badly until Sunday. So Pool 1, USRC Tigers were up against the LSW Thunder out at GDB. And what an absolute ripper this was. 9 for 183 after 20, the Tigers were, courtesy of 57 off 27 from Nawaz Rahim. And they were looking good, but the LSW Thunder weren't going to die wondering, Bushy.
Yeah, young Preet Manguki, a top scored with 50 not out, but it wasn't enough to get him over the line. And the Tigers win by 2, ending their season on a high. We both tipped the Tigers.
Yeah, both tipped the Tigers, and both of those teams are out, actually. The Nomads go through from Pool 1 into the quarterfinals. Congratulations to them, continuing their very good year. In Pool 2, the big derby, Kraigengauer Jingsung versus Kraigengauer Hung Si at PKVR. Jingsung in the 18th over went past the 122 set by Hung Si with a Matt Rafter 57, but both of them, unfortunately, for Kraigengauer, are out. A Hung Si victory would have put them into the quarters, Bushy.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame in the end for the Kraigengauer teams. We both picked Jinsung. We both got it right, so that's nice at least.
Yeah, the Yotters go through from Pool 2 into the quarters. In Pool 3, LSW Sky Warriors Charlie Bears. This was washed out, and that saw the Sky Warriors go through to the quarters on net run rate over Charlie Bears. We both tipped the Charlie Bears. It was a washout though, Bushy.
Yeah, not counting that one.
Pool 4 was already decided. PACC Rising Stars already going through. Pool 5, Gap Ramblers versus India Club Shiraz. This was washed out as well. We're both tipping the Gap Ramblers. Well, there's no game, but the Gap Ramblers are through to the quarters. USRC Lions in Pool 6, they're up against the Crusaders down at Kowloon Cricket Club, and the Lions, via a magnificent 73 off 31 balls from Muhammad Fayed Hayat, they got 7 for 172, which was way too good for the Crusaders, who bumbled around, faced 20 overs and ended up 8 for 99. What about that, Bushy? 73 off 31 at Kowloon Cricket Club.
That's fantastic, except for I picked the Crusaders like usual, who are very close to going in the never ever bin again.
Well, remember, I told you last week, Lions weren't high enough on the table for Crusaders to beat them. They need to play the Gap Ramblers.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're out. The USRC Lions go through. In Pool 7, Lamar versus the Leaders in the morning game out at GDB. And the Leaders, with 4 batters dismissed in the 20s, scored 162, which Lamar actually made very light of, running it down in the 15th over with Justin Heathcote. God, you thought Hyatt down at KCC did well. 60 off 19 balls. And Mark Stone, 46 off 21. They win, but they didn't win in quick enough time to overtake the Tartars on net run rate. Lammers win, they're out. Tartars go through. What about that 60 off 19?
Yeah, that's a strike rate of over 300. That's pretty outrageous there from Justin. Nice job. And we did both pick Lama, but it didn't help them. And Tartars on their way into the finals, I guess.
Indeed they are. Pool 8 was already decided. Wither is into the quarters. So big quarterfinals coming up this weekend. We will have that covered next in Ins and Outs.
It's time for Ins and Outs, with all the weekend senior games covered. Here's Butters.
All right, Ins and Outs time again. It's a big weekend as long as the weather does us some favours. Premier League Grand Final, T20. Kowloon Cricket Club this Sunday. Kowloon Cricket Club versus USRC Buschy. You looking forward to this one? You're broadcasting this one.
I am broadcasting this one. It's a huge final. I'm not going to miss it. I've called every game possible for the Premier League, and I'm going to call the final KCC versus USRC. USRC thinking when they lost that game up at Hong Kong Cricket Club that maybe they were going to be out, but a washout gets them there. Kowloon Cricket Club undefeated, 3 wins and a washout. It's going to be a huge game. It's at KCC, and I am calling it, and I'm going to tip Kowloon Cricket Club to win it all.
I give USRC a chance in this. I do. I give them a chance. T20, anything can happen. Grand final. They've done well to get there. I don't think they're going to have enough to get across the line against Kowloon Cricket Club. But if it is rain affected, reduced overs, USRC overperform, Akbar Khan, for mine, he's player of the year and everything. He could take the game away from Kowloon Cricket Club. So I'm tipping KCC, but not with a great deal of confidence, Bushy.
Fair. I'm looking forward to seeing Akbar Khan back at KCC where he loves to score runs.
He does indeed. On the women's side, you mentioned at the opener, this one's out at Mission Road. Hong Kong Cricket Club earned the right to a home final, but due to the garden party, they're not going to be there. They're going to be out at Mission Road at 9:30 on Sunday morning. So what's happening with the telecast there, Bushy? Are they broadcasting this one as well, Cricket Hong Kong?
Yes, Cricket Hong Kong are broadcasting it, and a late night decision by me last night. In fact, I will be broadcasting that one. I am going to call the women's final as well, so I'm going to go over to Mission Road, call the big women's Premier League game, then I'm going to jump in a car, drive down to KCC and do the second one as well. So I'll do both the Premier League finals, HKCC versus Craig and Gout. Now, I've got some info here for you, Botters. I was messaging Kerry Chan last night as well, doing my research. She will not be back from Malaysia to join the Craig and Gout Cricket Club Premier side, so that's a big loss to them in the final.
Yeah, it's a big shame, big out, big match. At the start of the season, we both tipped Craig and Gower to win the overall competition, so I'm going to have to go 50-50 here. If Carrie's not playing, I'm going to have to tip HKCC, although I tip Craig and Gower to win the whole thing.
Now I tip Craig and Gower to win the whole thing, and I'm going the same because I saw the might of Hong Kong Cricket Club up against KCC last weekend. They are a very polished outfit, and I think they're going to hold aloft another trophy for Hong Kong Cricket Club in the Premier League for the women's. Yeah,
they are very strong. They've been very good, haven't they? They really have. It's been a great competition, actually. Shame the rain got in the way of a big match last weekend, but two sides who deserve to be there. Defending champions not there, so it shows how strong this competition is with a couple of developing teams as well who've learnt a lot this season, Bushy.
Indeed. And also this weekend, we've got some Sunday Elite T20 Cup, maybe. I haven't seen any because it keeps raining.
Yeah, Pool 1, LSW Knights up against the KCC Infidels. This match being played as a lead-up to the Premier League Grand Final. So given you're out at Mission Road at this time, you won't be commentating this one for KCC, I assume.
Yeah, that's correct. I cannot physically be in two places at the one time, but we will have the video broadcast up and running. I'm fairly hopeful, even though I have to probably go set it up and then go from KCC to Ting Kong Road, then back to KCC. We'll get it sorted. There will be some video of the Knights versus Infidels, we hope, and you can watch online, and that's on KCC YouTube. The two games we talked about before will be on Cricket Hong Kong YouTube.
And I'll tip the Infidels in this one, Bushy.
Now, here's the question. I'm assuming Atik will only play Premier League, so he'll be missing from the Infidels. Plenty missing from the Infidels, I guess, because it's T20 Cup. I'm going to go the roughie and just go for the Knights on this one.
All right, I give them a half a chance. It's a good point you make. I haven't seen the Infidels lineup, but whatever it is, we know it's going to be a very different lineup to the one they were fielding at the start of the season, either for losses for Atik, and I suspect Mo Khan won't play in this one either. I presume he'll wait for the Premier League in the afternoon. They've also had a number of the players leave in the latter part of the season to go to other areas of the world as well. So they'll field a very different side. I just can't tip the Knights. I just can't tip them.
That's fair.
I'll stick with the Infidels.
We'll have a split on this one.
No problem. Saturday Cup quarter-final time. All to play for here. All three of the HKCC teams are through to the quarters. Very well represented. First up, Nomads versus Yodders.
Yodders got rolled by Hung Si, didn't they? So I'm going to go with the Nomads.
Yep, Nomads for mine. LSW Sky Warriors versus the Rising Stars.
I'm back on the Rising Stars train, so I'll stick with them.
Bushy, Rising Stars. Botters. I've got to go the Sky Warriors.
Ooh.
I think they'll have too much for the Yodders. No, for the Rising Stars in that one, sorry. Gap Ramblers versus the USRC Lions.
Gap Ramblers.
Yep. Gap Ramblers for mine. I can't tip against them. Super strong. This is a good one, this one. Tartars versus Witherers.
I will go to the Tartars on that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go the Tartars as well, but I do give the Witherers a chance. All right, that is it. Rain, stay away. Let some cricket be played in Hong Kong both Saturday and Sunday. That is it for this week. Looking forward to the weekend.
Yes, there's the big bird, Sky Plaza Road. Not much to report with the international teams all in Hong Kong at the moment, Botters, but I do have a little bit of gossip.
Always love a bit of gossip, Bushy. What do you got for us?
Well, I think right now we'll put that little thing in about Bushy's rumour mill, shall we? Let's play it now.
Bushy's Rumour File.
Okay, now I can't say too much because it's not official yet. So I've got to talk in sort of code, but I do have it on very good authority, in fact, and they're just waiting for the ink to dry, that the Hong Kong China women's team, that tour we might have mentioned earlier in another podcast, going to the Netherlands, is 99.9% a go, and we should be able to confirm it all next week. But that's what I've heard on the grapevine, on the rumour mill, that the girls, the Hong Kong China women's team, are off to the Netherlands next month.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Wonderful experience getting some cricket in over there. Do you know how long they're going for, maybe?
Yeah, I have none of those details, so we'll save that one for next week. But I do have a little bit more gossip. I'm not going to name names, but I do hear that 3 of the under-19 Hong Kong China women's players are in the main side for this tour, which is amazing. They're taking the youth.
Well, that's superb. That is really, really good. Investing in the youth of the future, and that's good to see on the women's side of the game. And again, look, credit to Cricket Hong Kong, whoever's behind organising all this. You know, we've had a lot of men's cricket, but now to get the women on the road over to the Netherlands, a lot of proactive, good stuff happening at the national level, Bushy.
Yeah, and of course, still underway over there in Malaysia. We've got 3 representatives from Hong Kong playing in the Malaysia Super League. the captain, Kerry Chan's over there, Marina Lamplau, and also Lemon Chung, who will be missing from the Hong Kong Cricket Club Premier team on the weekend as well with the gloves. The three of them over there enjoying themselves. I see all the photos on Instagram. Don't see a lot of cricket on the Instagram. I see a lot of having fun, though, so it seems like a good tournament to be involved in.
A good blend of cricket and fun is always a good tour, Buschy, and that is it for Sky Plaza Road this week. And now it's time for Bushy's Birthday Bonanza. All right, favourite time of the week for everyone, of course, it's Bushy's Birthday Bonanza. I'm sure Bushy's lined up a big one this week. Plenty of birthdays. Bushy, what do we got?
Well, plenty would be doing some heavy lifting, but a very important one. I've got one birthday this week. Somebody that does literally everything in cricket in Hong Kong is celebrating a birthday. I've got him listed as umpire, but he's so much more. Turning 48 on Friday, May 3rd, Tabarak Dar.
Wow, Tabarak Dar. 48th birthday, fantastic. He is the everywhere man. He's a wonderful servant to the game in Hong Kong. Happy birthday, Tabarak.
And he also just got back from Oman. He was one of the umpires in that ACC Premier Cup. That's how important he is now, not just for cricket in Hong Kong, but worldwide. So, yeah, big happy birthday, Tabarak.
And that's it? That's the only one we've got, Bushy?
Got plenty more coming up next week, I promise.
Looking forward to it already. That's Bushy's Birthday Bonanza.
Hi, I'm Jay Davidson, the Namibian Nightmare from Kowloon Cricket Club, and you're listening to the 8 for 52 podcast with Botters and Buschy.
And that's it for episode 32 of the 8 for 52 podcast. Another great one. Botters, you're away in Australia. How's the weather down there? Because it's pretty terrible here in Hong Kong.
It's absolutely terrible down here as well. At least it's warm in Hong Kong. It's wet and cold down in Sydney. It's pretty unpleasant, and looking at the weather forecast for the next 7 to 10 days, it does not get any better. In fact, it only gets worse. So I can't wait to get back to Sky Plaza Road myself.
Yeah, it sucks to be you. Our weather's actually going to improve, and I reckon we're going to get games on this Sunday, which is important because it's the end of the 2023-24 Cricket Hong Kong Premier League T20 series. We've got two massive finals, the women's in the morning and then the men's from 2 p.m.
Yeah, plenty of cricket this weekend. Saturday Cup quarters and a Sunday Elite T20, but none bigger than, as you suggest, Bushy, those two big grand finals, KCC versus URC. Congratulations to both of them for making it. And out at Mission Road in the morning, it's the ladies where Hong Kong Cricket Club will be up against Craigengow Cricket Club. If the weather is kind to us, we should be in for some cracking matches. I'm not sure how much rain you've had in the last 48 hours, Bushy, but as we know, Mission Road's a pool after it rains.
It's not the torrential rain we had earlier this week with the supercell storm coming through. It looks like it should be okay, and hopefully we get a game underway there at Mission Road, because hopefully we get to see our latest Instagram DMer, Emily Dickinson, player of the match. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention about Emily. You owe her a hat. She got a tripahead.com mug for her player of the match award in that game against KCC, but you didn't give me any hats last week, so you owe her one hat.
Well, you're going to have no hats again this week, Bushy, because I'm not there. Unless you organise with Mrs. Botters to go around and collect them, you won't be having any hats this weekend either, unfortunately.
Yep, so you'll owe 3 hats. Possibly by the end of this. But well, anyway, we'll be fine. We'll figure it out. It's going to be great. Logistically, a little difficult for me having to go from Mission Road to KCC, but we'll get it done. We'd always do at Cricket Hong Kong broadcast. It's going to be great. Tune in on that. And also KCC YouTube on Sunday morning for that T20 Cup with the Infidels getting a run, and see what team turns up for them.
Yes, indeed. Weather be kind, weather be kind. We will get a lot of cricket in if it is, Bushy. That is episode 32 in the can. We are done, my friend, I think, for this week.
Yep, I'll have a chat to you next week. Enjoy Australia. See ya.
Hello, good morning. We're tossing a
The 8 for 52 theme song is The Coin Toss from the band The Duckworth-Lewis Method. Find them on Apple iTunes and YouTube and download that song and all their other cricket-related music.
The 8 for 52 podcast is written, produced and published by Matt Botfield and Aaron Bush for Trip Ahead Limited. Copyright 2024.